Before we begin tonight's journey into the shadows, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because what you're about to hear, these 4 stories from real night shift workers, they're going to stay with you long after this video ends. And trust me, you'll want to be part of this community when the darkness starts feeling a little too close. Go ahead. Click subscribe. I'll wait. Good. Now smash that like button too, because tonight we're diving deep into the reality that some people live every single night. The reality that when the sun goes down and normal people go to sleep, there's a whole other world that wakes up. A world most of us never see. A world that sometimes sees us. Let's begin. The fluorescent lights in Memorial Psychiatric Hospital hummed their endless song. That sound, that constant electric drone, it was the soundtrack to Marcus Thompson's life for 7 years. 7 years of night shifts. 7 years of walking those corridors between midnight and 8 in the morning. 7 years of watching over patients that most of society had forgotten about. Marcus started the job right out of college. He needed the money. The night shift paid more. Danger pay, they called it. But honestly, in those first few years, it wasn't that dangerous. It was boring. Incredibly, soul-crushingly boring. You walk your rounds. You check the doors. You write down notes in your log. You drink coffee. You fight sleep. You watch the clock. You wait for dawn. But something happens to your mind when you work nights for too long. Your circadian rhythm breaks. Your body forgets what time means. You start existing in this gray space between the living and the dreaming. Marcus felt it after about 3 years. This disconnection, like he was watching his own life from behind glass. The hospital itself was old, built in 1927, before all the modern ideas about mental health care, back when they called these places asylums, back when treatment meant things we don't like to talk about anymore. The building remembered. Marcus could feel it. Those walls had soaked up decades of suffering, decades of screams, decades of minds breaking apart. Most of the hospital was still in use. 4 floors of patients, treatment rooms, common areas. But there was one wing that had been closed off. The West Wing. They sealed it in 1983 after budget cuts, just locked the doors and walked away, left everything inside exactly as it was. Hospital beds, medical equipment, patient files, all of it slowly rotting in the dark. Marcus's rounds took him past the entrance to the West Wing every night. Big double doors with small windows, chains, and a padlock. A sign that said, "Authorized personnel only." He'd walked past those doors thousands of times, glanced through the windows into the darkness beyond. Never thought much about it, until the night he saw the light. It was 3:17 in the morning. Marcus remembered the exact time because he'd just checked his watch. He was tired, more tired than usual. He'd been working 6 nights a week for the past 2 months, covering for another guard who'd quit suddenly, just stopped showing up one day, didn't even call, just vanished. Marcus was walking his usual route, 2nd floor, north corridor, past the patient rooms, past the nurses' station, down toward the West Wing entrance. His footsteps echoed, the only sound except that endless fluorescent hum. He was almost past the double doors when he saw it, a flicker of light through the window, just for a second. like a flashlight beam sweeping across a wall deep inside the sealed wing. Marcus stopped, stared through the window. Nothing but darkness now. He waited, watching. Maybe he'd imagined it. Maybe his exhausted brain was playing tricks. God knows it wouldn't be the first time. After years of night shifts, you start seeing things. Shadows that move wrong. Shapes in your peripheral vision. Your mind filling empty spaces with phantoms. But then he saw it again. Definitely a light. Moving. Like someone was walking around in there with a flashlight. Marcus's heart rate picked up. This wasn't supposed to be possible. The West Wing was sealed. Had been sealed for decades. No one had keys except the maintenance supervisor, and he sure as hell wasn't doing anything at 3 in the morning. He pulled out his radio, keyed the mic, called for Jim, the other guard on duty that night. "Jim, you there?" Static. Then Jim's voice, thick with sleep. "Yeah, what's up? You anywhere near the West Wing entrance? 2nd floor?" "Nah, I'm doing rounds on 4. Why?" "I'm seeing a light in the sealed wing, like someone's in there." A pause. Then Jim laughed. "Man, you've been working too many nights. You're seeing things." "I'm serious. There's definitely a light moving in there." Another pause. Longer this time. "You want me to come down?" Marcus pressed his face against the window, cupped his hands around his eyes to block the corridor light, stared into the darkness of the West Wing. There, again, a pale light, definitely moving, getting closer. "Yeah," Marcus said. "Yeah, get down here." He waited, watched the light. It was moving toward the double doors, toward him, getting brighter, closer. His mouth went dry. Something about that light felt wrong. The way it moved. Too smooth, too steady. Not like a flashlight at all. More like something glowing, something alive. The light reached the other side of the double doors, just a few feet away now, separated from Marcus by just the doors and his rising fear. He could see it clearly now, through the window. Not a flashlight beam. Something else. Something that pulsed, like a heartbeat. Footsteps behind him, running. Jim appeared, out of breath. "What the hell, man? You look like you've seen a ghost." Marcus didn't take his eyes off the window. "Look." Jim stepped up, looked through the window. His smile faded. "What the fuck is that?" "I don't know." They both stared. The light pulsed, once, twice, 3 times, and then it started to fade, moving away, retreating back into the depths of the sealed wing. "We need to report this," Jim said. "Report what? That we saw a weird light? They'll think we're crazy." "Someone's in there, Marcus. Someone got into a sealed wing of the hospital. That's a security breach." Marcus nodded slowly. Jim was right. This was serious. But something in his gut told him that whoever or whatever was in there wasn't a normal intruder. They called the night supervisor. She arrived 15 minutes later. A woman named Carol, who'd worked at the hospital longer than anyone. She listened to their story with an expression that Marcus couldn't quite read. Not disbelief, something else. Something like recognition. "And you're both sure you saw this?" she asked. They nodded. Carol sighed, pulled out a large key ring, flipped through dozens of keys until she found an old brass one. "I need you both to understand something. The West Wing was closed for a reason, not just budget cuts. Something else happened there, something the hospital doesn't talk about." She unlocked the padlock, pulled off the chains. They clattered to the floor like rattling bones. "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. Carol pushed the doors open. They swung inward with a groan. The smell hit them immediately. Decay, mold, and something else. Something chemical and wrong. In 1982, Carol said, there was a patient in the West Wing. His name was Thomas Aldridge. He was a paranoid schizophrenic, very violent, very disturbed. He believed he was already dead, that he was existing in purgatory, that everyone around him was a demon testing him. She clicked on her flashlight, swept the beam into the darkness ahead. One night, Thomas escaped from his room. We don't know how. His door was locked, restraints were secure, but somehow he got out, and he killed 4 people before they stopped him. 2 nurses, a doctor, and another patient. Marcus felt ice water in his veins. Jesus. They found him in the recreation room, Carol continued, standing in the middle, covered in blood, not moving, just standing there, staring at nothing. When they approached him, he said something. He said, "I'm still here. I'll always be here." She started walking into the West Wing. Marcus and Jim followed. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, revealed rooms frozen in time, hospital beds with rotted mattresses, wheelchairs covered in dust, walls with peeling paint and dark stains. Thomas died in restraints 3 days later, Carol said. Heart attack. He was only 34 years old, and ever since then, people have reported strange things in this wing. Lights, sounds, shadows. It's why they sealed it. The official reason was budget cuts, but really, staff refused to work in here anymore. They walked deeper. The air got colder. Their breath fogged. Marcus's skin crawled. Every shadow seemed alive. Every corner held something waiting. They reached a central corridor. Carol stopped, pointed her light down the hallway to their left. Recreation room is down there, where Thomas killed those people, where they found him standing. Are we going down there? Jim asked. His voice shook. Carol looked at Marcus. You said the light was moving toward the entrance, toward you. Whatever it was, it wanted to be seen. It wanted attention. So yes, we're going to give it attention. They walked down the corridor, slowly. The only sound was their footsteps and breathing. Marcus's heart hammered. His flashlight shook in his hand. He wanted to turn back, run, get out of this wing and never return. But he kept walking, one foot in front of the other. The recreation room door was open, hanging off one hinge. Carol pushed it wider. It scraped against the floor. They stepped inside. The room was large, empty. Dark windows along one wall, a few chairs scattered around. And in the center of the room, exactly where Carol said they found Thomas standing, there was something, a shape, humanoid, but wrong, translucent, glowing with that same pale pulsing light they'd seen through the window. It didn't move, just stood there, facing them. Jim made a sound, half gasp, half whimper, started backing up. Marcus couldn't move, couldn't breathe. He stared at the shape, tried to make sense of it, tried to rationalize it. But there was no rationalization. This was impossible. This couldn't exist. But it did. It was right there. The shape raised one arm, pointed at Marcus, and then it spoke, not with a voice, with thoughts directly in Marcus's head, still here, always here, waiting, watching. You feel it, don't you? The weight of the night, the way it presses on you, changes you. You're becoming like me, trapped between, neither living nor dead, neither awake nor asleep. The night shift overtakes everyone eventually. Marcus stumbled backward, hit the wall. The shape moved closer, glided across the floor without walking. That pulsing light got brighter, brighter, until it was almost blinding. And then it vanished, just gone, like it had never been there. The three of them stood in the darkness, silent, shaking. Carol broke the silence. "We leave, now, and we never speak of this again." They left, locked the west wing behind them. Marcus finished his shift in a daze, went home as the sun rose, tried to sleep, couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that shape, heard those words in his mind. He called in sick the next night, and the night after that, tried to convince himself it was exhaustion, hallucination, shared delusion. But he knew better. Marcus quit 2 weeks later, didn't give notice, just stopped showing up. Like the guard before him, like countless others probably had over the years. He got a day job, 9 to 5, normal hours, sunlight, people around. But sometimes, late at night when he can't sleep, he feels it. That weight, that pressure, the mark the night shift left on him. And he wonders if part of him is still in that hospital, still walking those corridors, still trapped in the space between, still there, always there. If you're still with me, if your heart is racing right now, I need you to do something. Leave a comment below telling me if you've ever worked a night shift. Have you felt it? That change? That weight? Let me know. And while you're down there, hit that like button, because we're only getting started. We have 3 more stories tonight, and trust me, they get worse. Let's continue. Sarah Chen's gas station sat at the intersection of Route 9 and County Road 47, middle of nowhere, 20 miles from the nearest town in any direction. During the day, she got truckers mostly, people passing through, travelers. But at night, especially after midnight, the station became an island of light in an ocean of darkness. She'd been working the overnight shift for 4 years, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 8 hours alone. Just her and the hum of the coolers and the buzz of the overhead lights. The pay was decent, better than day shift, and Sarah needed the money. Single mom, 8-year-old daughter, rent, bills, life. The job was simple: pump gas for the occasional customer, stock shelves, clean, keep the coffee fresh, stay awake. Most nights were quiet, boring. Sarah would read, watch videos on her phone, text her sister, count down the hours until dawn. But some nights were different. Some nights, things happened that Sarah couldn't explain. Things she didn't talk about, because who would believe her? It started about 6 months into the job. Sarah was restocking the candy aisle, around 2 in the morning, dead quiet, no customers for hours. And she heard the bell above the door chime, someone coming in. She looked up, smiled. "Welcome to Quick Stop. Let me know if you need anything." The customer was a man, tall, maybe 6'3", wearing old clothes, jeans and a work shirt, both faded and dirty. His face was gaunt, hollow cheeks, sunken eyes. But it was his expression that made Sarah's smile falter. He looked confused, lost, like he didn't know where he was. "Can I help you find something?" Sarah asked. The man stared at her, didn't blink, didn't move, just stared for a long moment. Then he spoke. His voice was rough, dry, like he hadn't used it in years. "Where am I?" Sarah hesitated. "You're at Quick Stop, gas station, Route 9. The man looked around slowly, taking in the aisles, the coolers, the fluorescent lights, like he was seeing them for the first time. "What year is it?" A chill ran down Sarah's spine. "It's 2023. Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone?" The man's eyes focused on her. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition, maybe, or realization. 2023, he repeated. "That can't be right. I don't understand." The man took a step toward her, then another. Sarah backed up, hit the shelf behind her, knocked over a display of chips. "I died in 1996, the man said. "There was an accident. My truck, right out there." He pointed toward the windows, toward the dark road beyond. "I remember the crash, the impact, the pain, and then nothing. Until now. Until I walked through that door." Sarah's heart raced. This was wrong. All wrong. "I think you need help. Let me call—" "You can see me," the man interrupted. "That means something. Others can't see me. I've tried. I've walked these roads for so long, tried to get help, but no one sees me, no one hears me, except you. Why?" Before Sarah could answer, the man flickered, like a light with a bad connection. There one moment, gone the next, then back. Sarah gasped. The man looked down at himself, at his flickering hands. "It's happening again. I thought this time would be different, but I'm fading, always fading, trapped in the moment of my death, repeating it forever." He looked at Sarah one more time, his eyes full of desperation and sorrow. "Tell them I'm sorry. Tell my family I never made it home that night. Tell them I tried." And then he was gone, completely, like he'd never been there. Sarah stood frozen, trembling, staring at the empty space where the man had been. The bell above the door hadn't chimed when he left. There was no sound of a car outside. He'd just vanished. She checked the security camera footage later, rewound to when she heard the bell, watched herself looking up, smiling, speaking to empty air, backing away from nothing. The man wasn't on the footage, wasn't there at all. Just Sarah, alone, talking to herself. She tried to convince herself it was exhaustion, stress, but she knew what she'd seen, what she'd heard. And when she researched accidents on Route 9, she found it. An article from 1996. Truck driver named Michael Patterson died in a single vehicle accident at the intersection of Route 9 and County Road 47, exactly where the gas station now stood. That was the first one. But it wasn't the last. Over the next 3 years, Sarah encountered them regularly. The nighttime visitors who couldn't be real. Most were like Michael, confused, lost, unaware they were dead. They'd wander in, asking for directions, asking what year it was, asking for help Sarah couldn't give. Some were different though. Some knew exactly what they were, and those were the ones that terrified her, like the woman in the white dress. She appeared on a Tuesday night, 3:45 in the morning. Sarah was doing the cash count when she felt a cold draft. Looked up. The woman was standing by the magazine rack. The dress was old-fashioned, from the 1920s or 30s maybe, long and white with lace. The woman's hair was styled in finger waves. Her makeup was pale, too pale, and her eyes, those eyes were completely black, no whites, no iris, just solid black from edge to edge. Sarah couldn't move, couldn't speak. The temperature in the store dropped. Her breath fogged. The lights flickered. The woman smiled, showing too many teeth. "Hello, Sarah." It knew her name. "Do you know where you are?" the woman asked. "Do you really?" Sarah's voice cracked. "Please leave." The woman glided closer. not walking, gliding. Her feet didn't touch the floor. This place is thin, the veil between worlds. Night shift workers like you spend so much time in the darkness. You start to exist in both places, both worlds. You become bridges, and we can cross bridges. She was right in front of Sarah now, close enough to touch, close enough that Sarah could see the woman wasn't breathing. Her chest didn't move, and her skin, up close, it looked wrong. Waxy, artificial. "You invite us in," the woman whispered. "Every night you're here, every hour in the dark. You make yourself available. You open doors, and we come through. All of us, the lost, the angry, the hungry. We come through the bridges, through you." Sarah closed her eyes, prayed. For the first time in years, she prayed. When she opened her eyes, the woman was gone. The temperature returned to normal. The lights steadied. But Sarah knew with absolute certainty. The woman was right. She'd become something, changed. The night shift had transformed her into a doorway between worlds. And things were using that doorway. That was 3 months ago. Sarah tried to quit, gave her 2 weeks' notice, but her boss couldn't find a replacement, begged her to stay, offered her more money, and Sarah needed that money, needed it desperately. So she stayed, kept working, kept opening that door night after night. The visitors kept coming, some harmless, some not. Sarah learned to recognize the difference, learned when to engage and when to hide in the back office and wait for them to leave, learned which ones were dangerous. There was a pattern, a rhythm to it. Most nights were normal, but on certain nights when the moon was dark or the air felt wrong, they came. Sometimes 1 or 2, sometimes dozens, all drawn to that island of light. All drawn to Sarah. She started researching, found stories from other night shift workers, gas station attendants, security guards, nurses, factory workers, all of them reporting the same thing. Visitors, presences, things that shouldn't be there. The night shift community knew. They didn't talk about it openly, but they knew. There were rules, unwritten but understood. Never acknowledge them if you can help it. Never invite them directly. Never break the circle of light. Always keep the lights on. And most importantly, never work the night shift for too long. Because eventually, you don't come back. Eventually, you become one of them. Sarah knows she's approaching that threshold. She can feel it. The way the darkness feels comfortable now. The way daylight hurts her eyes. The way she catches herself flickering sometimes. There for a moment, gone the next. Just like Michael Patterson. Just like all the others, she's looking for a new job. Day shift, any day shift, but so far nothing. And every night she returns to Quick Stop, returns to her post, turns on the lights, opens the door, and waits for the visitors. Last night, she saw herself, standing outside, looking in through the window, her own face, but wrong, pale, with black eyes, smiling that too wide smile. And Sarah understood. It wasn't her. Not yet, but it would be. Soon, if she didn't escape, if she kept walking this path. The visitor that was almost Sarah waved, mouthed words, "See you soon," and then she was gone. Sarah called her sister this morning, asked if she could borrow money, enough to cover bills while she finds a new job. Any job. Her sister said yes. Thank God, she said yes. Tonight is Sarah's last night at Quick Stop, her last night as a bridge. After tonight, she's done. She's going to close that door. She hopes it's not too late. She hopes she can still come back. We're halfway through. Take a breath. I know this is intense, but before we continue, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and smash that like button. These stories need to be heard. These warnings need to be shared, because the night shift is real, and what happens there is real, even if nobody wants to believe it. 3 more stories to go. Are you ready? Good. Let's keep going into the darkness. Jefferson Elementary School was built in 1954. Solid brick construction, big windows, high ceilings, the kind of school that was meant to last. And it had. Almost 70 years of children, teachers, life, learning, laughter, all soaked into those walls. Daniel Rodriguez started as the night janitor in 2019. After his wife passed, after he sold their house, after he realized he needed something to fill the hours, something to keep his mind busy. The school district was hiring. Night shift, decent pay, benefits. Daniel applied, got the job. The work was straightforward. Clean classrooms, empty trash, mop floors, sanitize bathrooms, lock up, set alarms. He had the whole building to himself from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. 8 hours of solitude, 8 hours of silence. At first, it was exactly what Daniel needed. Time alone with his thoughts. Time to process his grief. But Jefferson Elementary, like many old schools, had a history. A past that lingered in those hallways. Children had died there over the decades. Accidents mostly. A fall down the stairs in 1962. A severe allergic reaction in 78. A drowning in the pool in 91 before they filled it in. Death leaves marks, especially on places where children should be safe. Daniel didn't believe in ghosts, didn't believe in anything supernatural. He was a practical man, former construction worker, saw the world in terms of concrete and steel, physical reality. But Jefferson Elementary was going to change that. It started small, subtle, things Daniel could rationalize. A door left open that he'd swear he closed. Lights on in a classroom he'd already cleaned. The sound of footsteps above him when he was working on the first floor. Old building, he told himself. Settling, the wind, his imagination. But it escalated. 3 months into the job, Daniel was mopping the main hallway. Second floor, around midnight, he heard it clearly. A child laughing, high-pitched, delighted, coming from the classroom at the end of the hall, room 212. Daniel stopped mopping, listened. The laughter came again. Definitely a child, definitely coming from 212, but that was impossible. The school was locked, alarmed. No one could get in without triggering the system, and no child would be here at midnight anyway. He walked toward room 212. The door was closed. The window in the door was dark. Daniel reached for the handle, hesitated. Something felt wrong. That instinct, that primal warning system humans have, it was screaming at him. Don't open that door. But he was the janitor. This was his job, his responsibility. He opened the door. The classroom was empty, dark except for the moonlight through the windows. Desks in neat rows, whiteboard clean. Nothing out of place, and no child, no source for the laughter. Daniel stood in the doorway. Hello? Is someone here? Silence. He flipped the light switch. Fluorescence flickered on. Harsh white light flooded the room. Still empty. Still nothing. Daniel stepped inside, looked around, checked between the desks, behind the teacher's desk, in the closet. Nothing. He was turning to leave when he heard it again. That laughter. But this time, it was right behind him, right in his ear. close enough to feel breath on his neck. Daniel spun around. Nothing there. His heart hammered. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool air. This wasn't his imagination. This wasn't the building settling. This was something else. Daniel left room 212, closed the door, stood in the hallway trying to calm down, trying to think rationally. But rational thought was slipping away, because deep down, in a place he didn't want to acknowledge, Daniel knew he wasn't alone in this school. Over the following weeks, the encounters increased in frequency and intensity. Daniel would hear children's voices, singing, playing, crying, always when he was alone, always when he couldn't find a source. He'd see shadows moving in his peripheral vision, small shadows, child-sized, darting between doorways, disappearing when he turned to look directly. The worst was the bathroom incident. Daniel was cleaning the boys' bathroom on the first floor. Third stall was always dirty. Kids never flushed, made a mess. Daniel was scrubbing the toilet on his knees when he heard the bathroom door open. Footsteps entered. Small feet. A child. "School's closed," Daniel called out. "You shouldn't be here." No response. The footsteps continued, walking slowly toward Daniel's stall, stopping right outside. Daniel could see small feet under the stall door, white sneakers with blue stripes, dirty, worn. "Hello," Daniel said. The feet didn't move, just stood there, facing the stall, waiting. Daniel stood up. His knees ached. He reached for the stall door, started to open it. The feet took a step back, then another, moving away. Daniel pushed the door open all the way, stepped out. The bathroom was empty. No child, no one. But those white sneakers with blue stripes, Daniel recognized them. He'd seen them before, in a photograph, in the display case in the school's main hallway. A memorial to Gregory Mason, 8 years old. Died in 1962 from a fall down the school stairs. In the photograph, Gregory was smiling, wearing white sneakers with blue stripes. Daniel stood in that bathroom, cold, shaking, unable to process what was happening. He'd just seen a dead child's shoes, a child who'd been dead for over 60 years. It wasn't possible. It couldn't be real. But it was. It absolutely was. That night, Daniel did something he never did. He left early, walked out of Jefferson Elementary at 2 in the morning, didn't finish his shift, didn't lock up properly, just left, went home, sat in his apartment, stared at the wall until sunrise. He almost quit, called the school district office, told them he needed to talk. But then he thought about his wife, about the bills, about how much he needed this job, and he convinced himself he could handle it, could ignore the voices and the shadows and the impossible things, could just do his work and collect his paycheck. So he went back, and for a while, it seemed okay. The encounters continued, but Daniel learned to tune them out, learned to keep his head down, focus on the work. Don't investigate, don't acknowledge, just clean and move on until the night in the old pool room. The pool had been filled in decades ago, converted into a storage room, but everyone still called it the pool room. It was in the basement, accessible only by a single stairway. Dark, damp, full of old equipment and forgotten supplies. Daniel had to go down there once a week to get cleaning supplies. He was making one of those trips around 4 in the morning, his least favorite time, when the night felt the heaviest, when the darkness seemed alive. Daniel descended the stairs. The temperature dropped with each step. His flashlight cut through the gloom ahead. The pool room was at the bottom. Big metal door, heavy. Daniel pushed it open. The hinges screamed. Inside, rows of shelves, boxes, old desks, broken chairs, and in the center, where the pool used to be, a concrete floor with a drain. Daniel walked to the supply shelves, found what he needed. Cleaning solution, trash bags, gloves. He gathered everything, turned to leave, and froze. Standing by the door was a child, a little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Wet hair, wet clothes, water dripping onto the floor, creating a puddle around her bare feet. She stared at Daniel with wide, glassy eyes. "Help me," she whispered. "I can't get out." Daniel's supplies fell from his hands, crashed to the floor. The sound echoed in the concrete space. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The little girl didn't move either, just stood there, dripping, staring. "I'm drowning," she said, over and over. "I'm drowning. Please help me get out." Daniel forced himself to speak. "You're not drowning. The pool is gone. It's just floor now." The girl looked down, at the concrete beneath her, then back at Daniel. "It's still there, under, waiting. It never left. None of us left." She took a step toward him. Water squelched under her feet, left wet prints on the concrete. "You see us. You hear us. You're like the bridge lady. You're changing. Soon you'll stay with us, forever." Daniel backed away, hit a shelf, knocked over boxes. No, I'm leaving. I'm done." The girl smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "They all say that, but you'll come back. You always come back. The night calls to you now. You can't resist it. None of them can." She gestured around the room, and Daniel saw them. Children, dozens of them, standing in the shadows, sitting on shelves, leaning against walls, all staring at him, all dead, all trapped. Daniel ran, pushed past the dripping girl, threw open the metal door, bolted up the stairs, heard laughter behind him, children's laughter, echoing, following. He burst through the basement door into the first-floor hallway, ran to the main entrance. His hands shook as he unlocked it, disabled the alarm, shoved the door open, stumbled out into the night. The cold air hit him like a slap, real, solid. He bent over, hands on his knees, gasping. Behind him, through the school's windows, he could see them, the children, pressed against the glass, watching, waving. Daniel didn't go back inside. He called his supervisor, made up an excuse, family emergency, left his keys on the hood of his car, sent a text resignation later that day. 2 weeks notice be damned. He was done. Done with Jefferson Elementary. Done with the night shift. Done with all of it. That was 3 years ago. Daniel works day shift now at an office building. 9 to 5. Fluorescent lights. Living people. Normal sounds. He sleeps at night. Lives in daylight. Avoids schools, especially old ones. But sometimes, when he's walking at dusk and the light is failing, he hears it. Children's laughter, distant, calling. And he knows they remember him, know he was there, know he saw them. And part of him, a part he won't acknowledge, wants to go back, wants to return to that darkness. Because the night shift changes you, marks you, and the mark never fully fades. One more story, one more journey into the depths of the night shift experience. But first, I need you to do something. Leave a comment. Tell me your story. Have you experienced something you can't explain? Have you worked the night shift? Do you know what I'm talking about? Share it below and hit that like button. We're almost done. One more tale, and then you can return to your safe, daylight world. For now, let's finish this. Cascade Call Center. operated 24/7. Customer service for a telecommunications company. Hundreds of calls every day, thousands every week. Problems to solve, questions to answer, angry customers to placate. The building was a squat, windowless rectangle in an industrial park. Fluorescent lighting, cubicles, headsets, the modern landscape of soul-crushing employment. Raymond Park had been a night shift operator for 5 years. Midnight to 8 a.m., the graveyard shift. They called it that because of the hours. But Raymond thought the name was more literal than people realized. Working those hours, talking to strangers in the darkest part of the night. It did something to you, killed something inside. The calls were different at night. During the day, people called with normal problems, internet not working, bill questions, technical support. But at night, the calls changed. People who called at 3 in the morning were different, lonely, desperate, intoxicated, mentally unstable. Raymond had heard it all. Crying, screaming, confessions, threats, pleas for help that had nothing to do with telecommunications. The call center only had 5 operators during the night shift. Raymond and 4 others spread across the massive call floor, sitting in cubicles spread far apart, each person an island in a sea of empty desks and fluorescent light. They didn't interact much, just took calls, hour after hour, waiting for dawn. Raymond's cubicle was in the back corner, position 512, away from everything. He preferred it that way, less distraction, just him and the headset and the endless parade of night callers. It was a Wednesday when Raymond got the first call. Nothing special about the night. Standard volume, standard problems. He'd been on shift for 3 hours, taken maybe 40 calls, was drinking his 3rd cup of coffee when the system beeped. Incoming call. He clicked accept. Thank you for calling Cascade Telecommunications. This is Raymond. How can I help you tonight? Static. Loud static. Raymond adjusted his headset. Hello? Can you hear me? The static continued. Then, underneath it, a voice, distorted, far away, like it was coming through layers of interference. Help me. Please, I need help. Raymond pulled up his screen. No caller ID, no account information. The system showed the call as coming from area code 000, which was impossible. There was no area code. 000. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you speak up? The voice came through clearer. Female, young, terrified. Please, he's coming. I don't have much time. You have to help me. Raymond's training kicked in. Domestic violence call. It happens sometimes. Ma'am, if you're in danger, I need you to call 911. This is a telecommunications company. We can't help with emergency situations. I tried, the woman screamed. I tried 911. I tried everyone. No one answers. No one can hear me except you. Ma'am, please calm down. I can't calm down. He's in the house. I can hear him. I'm hiding, but he's going to find me. Raymond's heart rate increased. This felt real. The panic in her voice. The terror. Okay, what's your address? I'll call the police for you. You don't understand. The police can't help. This already happened. I'm calling from... I don't know where I'm calling from. I just need someone to hear me. Someone to know what happened. The static surged. Overwhelming. Raymond pulled the headset away from his ear. It hurt. When he put it back, the woman was speaking rapidly, frantically. His name is David. David Marsh, my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. He wouldn't leave me alone. Kept showing up, kept threatening me. I got a restraining order. It didn't matter. He broke in tonight, 2:43 a.m. I tried to call for help, but my phone was dead. He cut the power, cut the lines. I'm trapped, and he's going to kill me." "When is this happening?" Raymond asked. "Where are you?" 17 Oak Street, apartment B. Please send help. He's..." A crash, a scream, sounds of struggle, then silence, then heavy breathing, a different voice, male, deep, angry. "Who is this?" the male voice demanded. Raymond's hands shook. "This is Cascade Telecommunications. Who am I speaking with?" "You heard her calling? How? How did she..." The voice trailed off. More static. Then nothing. The line went dead. Raymond sat in his cubicle, frozen. His mind raced. What the hell just happened? He pulled up his call log. The call showed as lasting 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Source: area code 000, number 00000000000. Impossible. He did a quick search. 17 Oak Street. Found it. Apartment building across town. But when he searched for recent incidents, recent crimes, he found nothing. Nothing at all. Raymond tried to go back to work, took more calls, but he couldn't focus, couldn't stop thinking about that woman's voice, the fear in it, the reality of it. By the time his shift ended, he'd made a decision. He was going to drive to 17 Oak Street, see for himself. The sun was rising when Raymond pulled up to the address. Old apartment building, 4 units, faded paint, overgrown lawn. He found apartment B, first floor, walked up to the door, knocked, no answer, knocked again, nothing. A neighbor emerged from apartment A, elderly man, suspicious. "Can I help you?" Raymond improvised. "I'm looking for the person who lives here. Are they home?" The old man squinted. "Ain't nobody lived there for years. Owner keeps it empty, planning to renovate eventually, but never gets around to it." "Years," Raymond repeated. "No one?" "Not since the murder." Raymond's blood went cold. "Murder?" The old man nodded, warming to the topic. "Yeah, back in 2014, young woman lived there, had a crazy ex-boyfriend. He broke in one night, killed her. Cops found her body the next morning. Terrible thing, real terrible. Guy got life in prison, but nobody wants to rent the place after that. You know how it is." "Do you remember her name?" Raymond asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Sure, Jennifer. Jennifer Cole. Sweet girl. Worked at the hospital. Didn't deserve what happened to her." Raymond thanked the old man, walked back to his car on shaking legs. Jennifer Cole, murdered in 2014. That was 9 years ago. 9 years. And she'd just called him. Called him from a number that didn't exist. From a time that had already passed. Called him from death. He researched when he got home. Found the newspaper articles. Jennifer Cole, 26 years old, murdered by her ex-boyfriend David Marsh at 2:43 a.m. on March 7th, 2014. She'd tried to call for help, tried to escape, but David had cut the phone lines, cut the power. She died alone, terrified, trapped, and somehow, 9 years later, she'd reached out. Reached through time or death or whatever barrier separated the living from the dead, and she'd connected to Raymond. He tried to convince himself it was a prank, someone who knew the story, playing a sick joke. But the call log was real. The area code 000 was real, and the terror in that voice, that couldn't be faked. That was genuine. That was the sound of someone dying. Raymond went back to work the next night, told himself it was a one-time thing. Wouldn't happen again, but it did. Different call, different voice, different story, but the same thing. Someone calling from area code 000, someone in danger, someone who had already died. Over the next 3 months, Raymond received 17 calls like this. 17 dead people reaching out, calling from the moment of their death, begging for help that would never come. An old man having a heart attack called as he collapsed, alone in his home. A teenager in a car accident called as his car filled with water. A woman being stabbed by a home invader. A child trapped in a fire. A suicide in progress. All of them calling. All of them connecting to Raymond. All of them dead. Raymond researched every call, found the truth behind each one. Real deaths, real people, all connected by one thing. They'd all tried to call for help, and somehow their final desperate attempts had broken through, had found a receiver, had found Raymond. He wasn't the only one. Raymond discovered posts online, other call center operators, other night shift workers, all reporting the same phenomenon. Calls from the dead, from area code 000, from numbers that couldn't exist. A pattern. A consistent pattern across the country. The theory that emerged was this: the act of dying while trying to call for help creates some kind of echo, some kind of psychic recording. And people who work the night shift, people who spend hours and hours in that liminal space between day and night, they become sensitive to those echoes. They become receivers, able to pick up on calls that shouldn't exist. Raymond tried to quit, gave notice, but the calls followed him, even after he left Cascade, even after he got a new job. Day shift, different company, different headset. The calls still came, not through the company system, through his personal phone, late at night, always late at night. Area code 000. Always someone dying, always someone begging for help. He stopped answering, blocked the number, but it didn't matter. New phones, new numbers. They found him. They always found him, because he'd become a receiver. The night shift had changed him, opened something inside him, and now he couldn't close it. Raymond sees a therapist now, takes medication for anxiety, for insomnia, for the paranoia that comes from knowing dead people are trying to reach you. He tells people the calls are auditory hallucinations, side effect of the medication. But he knows better. He knows they're real, knows that somewhere, in some space between life and death, people are stuck, trapped in their final moments, calling out forever. And people like Raymond, people marked by the night shift, they hear those calls. They become the unwitting witnesses to death's endless replay. Last night, Raymond got a call from area code 000. He didn't recognize the voice, but the call was different. This time, the person on the line knew they were dead, knew they were trapped, and they said something that Raymond can't stop thinking about. They said, "Soon you'll be here with us. Soon you'll understand. The night shift is just practice. Practice for the forever shift, for the eternal darkness. We're all here, all of us who work too long in the dark, and we're waiting for you." Raymond doesn't sleep much anymore. He stays awake, keeps the lights on, because he knows it's true. He can feel himself changing, feel himself slipping. The boundary between the living and the dead is getting thinner. And one day, maybe soon, he'll cross it. And when he does, he'll become one of them, one of the voices calling from area code 000, trapped forever in the moment of his death, calling out, begging for help that will never come. The night shift takes everyone eventually, one way or another. It marks you, changes you, makes you into something that exists between. And once you're there, once you're in that liminal space, there's no coming back. We've reached the end. 4 stories, 4 warnings, 4 examples of what happens when you work the night shift for too long. I hope you listened carefully. I hope you learned something, because the darkness is real, and what lives in that darkness is watching, waiting, looking for people to mark, people to change, people to take. If you've made it this far, I need you to do one final thing. Leave a comment telling me your story. Hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel, because these stories matter. These warnings need to be shared. The night shift is out there, in hospitals and gas stations and schools and call centers, in every place where the lights stay on while the world sleeps. And the people who work those shifts, they need to know. They need to understand what they're risking. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please, if you have a choice, stay in the daylight. Don't let the night shift take you. Don't become one of the bridges. Don't become one of the voices calling from area code 000. Stay safe. Stay in the light. And I'll see you in the next video, if you dare.